What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a hoot and a holler, a true banger, if you will. Today we're coming in with a video talking about the time that we all got surprise drug tested at work. It was fucked. It went terribly. It did not. Listen, it was not a pretty scene. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Listen, baby, we're so close to 250,000 subscribers. I want that 250,000 so bad. Smack that sub button, please, dude. I want it so badly. I'm begging you. I'm on my knees, dude. I'll do whatever it takes, okay? Hey, wink, wink, all right? Just kidding. Let's dive right into it. So, this happened way back in 2017, which really actually isn't that long ago. That's about 3 years ago. But back then, I was working, as many of you know, I was working at a bathroom remodeling company, right? And I had a coworker who I was very good friends with named Trevor. And this guy was always such a character, right? And he unfortunately kind of gets fucked this story. But we'll get into that in a little bit, right? So, how this all played out is, this video is kind of about the big event that happened at my job, right? I feel like everyone at every job they've worked at, there was always that one thing that the coworker did, or, you know, there was that one big event. And this was our big event, right? This is the big event that happened at our job. So, one day, I'm clocked in, and I'm working alone at first, right? The first half of my shift, I'm working alone, so I'm chilling out. And the second half of my shift, I end up getting a partner, and my partner just so happens to be Trevor. And we're working together, and this was very close to the end of my time working there, right? I'm talking super duper close to the end of my time working there. Like, this was one of my final shifts on the job here, right? And I was working at this mall, and it turns out that for the second half of my shift, my partner was Trevor. So, Trevor, for those guys who haven't seen my previous work videos, he was a coworker of mine that was just totally with the shits. He always had good drugs, he was always down to get fucked up, and he never showed up to work sober. So he shows up and daps me up and says what's up, and we're just chilling out, chatting it up a little bit, and this guy is barred the fuck out. I'm talking, this guy's absolutely lit, dude. He's fucked up. Like, I'm not talking like standard Trevor intoxicated, right? Because listen, Trevor would come in and he'd be buzzed every day, but he wouldn't be like super duper lit. He would be functional and he'd get the job done. But on this day, I literally had to backpack him. Like, you could tell, like, he showed up just to show up. I don't know how he drove. I don't know how the fuck he got there. Like, he was in no condition to operate anything or even really stand up. So he gets there and he's like, hey, man, I could just tell he's barred out. And I dap him up and he kind of like stumbles into me when I dap him up. And I'm just like, oh boy, this should be a fun shift, right? So I'm like, hey, Trevor, like, what are you up to, dude? What are you on? And listen, it's no surprise that he was on drugs because it, like, hard shit. I'm not talking, you know, getting stoned. This guy he was probably baked through everything. But I'm talking, this guy showed up on a different hard drug every fucking day, right? Whether it was some sort of pill, whether it was like he did Molly at work. Dude, this guy was cracked out. This guy did whatever the fuck. And at the time, I was kind of getting back into doing drugs. This was towards the end of my probation, but I still was relatively sober in comparison to how I used to be at this point, right? Not completely sober, but yeah, for my standards, pretty damn sober, right? But either way, so we're chilling at work, and this guy's just fucked up. He can barely stand. So I kind of sit him down, and I'm really doing the work for him, right? I'm backpacking him through the shift, and we're just chatting, kind of chilling out, and he is so fucked up. And I realize, you know, that he's not getting any better. And I ask him, I'm like, yo, like, what'd you take, bro? And he was like, oh, I took a couple bars, bro. Like, these shits are fire. And I was like, well, do you have any more? Like, bars are probably one of the few things that I could get away with doing right now. And thank fuck that I didn't take them. Although, granted, I didn't work here for, like, much longer anyways. But thank fuck I didn't take them. And you guys are about to understand why, right? So, we're chilling out, barred out for a little bit. And all of my coworkers and I were in a group chat with our manager. And our manager shoots us a text, and he says, can everyone please meet me at the office at 6 o'clock or 6:30, right? I'm like, be there by 6:30 at the latest, right? He said, if any of you guys are working, just leave. Leave early, right? It's urgent. So we're all sitting here, and we're like, okay, you know, I'm sitting here with Trevor, and I'm like, what the fuck is this about? And I tell Trevor, I'm like, yo, like, did you get that text? And he's like, yeah, like, what the fuck, you know, like, well, what is he talking about, you know? And Trevor, at this point, he's kind of coming to a little bit more, but he's still fucked up. And when we got this text, it was already, like, coming up on 5 o'clock, right? Trevor had already been on this shift for, like, an hour, right? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what does he want from us, dude? Like, what the fuck, what is he, you know, what's about to go down? And I'm a little worried because, listen, we've been called in for meetings, but they were always scheduled at least a couple days in advance, minimum. We'd never been called in for, like, a super urgent thing like this. But I was like, you know what? Whatever, we get off early, bet. It'll probably be some stupid shit that'll take 20 minutes and we're done. So when 6:30 rolls around, of course, we leave on the dot at 6:30. We are fashionably late. So we grab our shit and we leave this mall. And as I'm leaving, I'm talking to Trevor a little bit, and I'm like, so, you know, like, are you good to drive and everything? Like, are you straight? And Trevor is fucked up, dude. This guy's in no condition to operate anything. So I'm like, you know what, dude? Hey, I'll whip you to this meeting, and by the time this is done, you'll probably be straight. And he's like, that's a good idea. So he hops in my car, and we go ride over to the office location. I say office. It was a very loose term. It was like a little dainty, fucked up building that looked like maybe it was an old warehouse that they rented out and slapped the logo on the front, right? I would not necessarily call this an office, okay? But I digress. So we get in there fashionably late, and we are obviously the last ones there. Like, we are very blatantly the last ones. Everyone's looking at us, and they clearly waited to start until we got there. Because I texted my manager in the group chat, and I said, hey, you know, we're on the way now. Just wrap things up, right? So we get to this location, you know, we get to the office, and we take a seat and a couple open seats, right? And everyone's just sitting in the room, kind of facing my manager standing up front. And my manager explains that there was recently an incident that happened with a coworker. He didn't say what. But there was an incident that happened with a coworker, and he says that everyone is going to have to get drug tested. Now, my heart stops because, listen, I wasn't on anything. I was very confident that I was going to pass it. I wouldn't say very, but I was confident I was going to pass it, right? Like, I dabbled in my drugs during this period. You know, I still wasn't smoking weed, so there wasn't anything that stayed in your system for super long that I was worried about, you know? I really thought I was fine. But I look over to Trevor, and this motherfucker just has this look on his face. And of course, you know, he's still a little calmer than he should be because he's off the Xans. But he's just got this look on his face where he's just like, oh shit. He's like, are they drug testing us, bro? And I'm like, yo, this is like our worst nightmare right now. Like, if I had a bad dream last night, this is probably what it would have been, you know? So my first initial thought is like, fuck, dude. Like, this is terrible, you know? And even though I'm sober, it's just instinct for me. Like, fuck a drug test, you know? Fuck that. That sounds horrible. So I'm kind of tweaking out. And there's this girl in the row in front of us, right? And she turns around, she's talking to us. And she's like, did you guys hear about what happened? And I'm like, no, like, what the fuck happened? And Trevor, I guess, was out of the loop too. And that's not usual for Trevor, because he was like, he really got along with everyone we worked with, right? Like, if anything happened with a coworker, Trevor probably knew. But this he hadn't heard about. So this girl's telling us. And I guess one of our coworkers, right? No one ever, like, gave a name. And I didn't really stick around long enough to see who stopped showing up. But no one ever told me a name. But apparently someone that I worked with showed up at one of, like a flea market that we had a display at. Because, like I mentioned, we would have these displays. You know, we'd have these little, like, wheel-in displays that we'd set up at malls and home shows. And even, like, flea markets to, you know, sell bathroom remodels, right? We do whatever we could to get a customer's info and then spam call them, you know? So apparently, one of my coworkers showed up, just sent off his ass, just fucked up off his rocker to one of the flea market gigs we had and got in a fist fight with someone there and got arrested. That's allegedly what happened, right? I wasn't there for this, but it kind of makes sense. You know, if there's an incident at the workplace where someone's fucked up, I'm pretty sure it's standard procedure that they drug test at least that guy, if not like fucking everybody, you know? Our manager was kind of tweaking here, but I digress, right? So we end up taking these drug tests, and I'm thinking, oh, we're going to be here forever, bro. Like, this sucks. But luckily, they were only doing saliva tests, so it only took maybe, like, I don't know, 30 minutes to get everyone in and out the door. Like, they were just rapid firing these tests, right? super quick. So we're all getting our saliva, drug test done here, right? They got, listen, I think it was like the front desk or one of the front desk or like HR ladies who just had a pair of gloves on doing the shit. I don't know. It was not any medical professional. Who fucking knows who that was? But a lady I'd never seen before was swabbing my mouth. But either way, we all get fucking swabbed. And I remember after this incident, right? I only worked, I think it was like maybe 2 more shifts, maybe 3, but 2 more shifts, give or take. And I never saw Trevor after this. But I remember hitting him up on Snapchat, right? I lost his Snapchat. I really wish I still had him added, but I have so many of you crackheads added, but that sometimes like I actually lose track of my friends, right? I don't have a personal Snapchat. Like the Snapchat that I plug in my videos is the one I use, right? But either way, I remember hitting him up and asking him what happened, and he actually got fucking fired, dude, which is horrible. Absolutely terrible. F's up for the homie Trevor, dude. A terrible tragedy indeed. But thank fuck I was there to drive him, right? After we take our little drug test, we say goodbye to the coworkers, and Trevor kind of knew what was coming. He was like, fuck, bro. I really hope I pass, right? Like, we had no time to prep. It's not like we could have done some mouthwash or something. We didn't know that we were about to be drug tested. We just thought this was like some meeting, we didn't know we were about to be tested. We just thought it was some surprise thing. So we were totally caught, we were blindsided by this shit. But either way, I drive Trevor back to his car, and by the time we're done, he's relatively sober, dude. He's feeling good. So I dap him up. I'm like, listen, dude, you're gonna be fine. Just let me know how it goes. And of course, we all found out how that went. Not so well. But Trevor's probably on to bigger and better things. Pardon me. Trevor, if you're out there, drop a like on the fucking video, dude. Please. And the rest of you better do the same. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.